at all. There we go. Slaps.
Hello and welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffee Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Kapar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well as the podcast on Instagram and YouTube.
Welcome to episode 136 of another Woodshop podcast, where this week we're joined by a woodworker, inventor, and Instagram hand model. When he finds a tool inadequate, he doesn't throw it out. He invents a better version. He's got more vices than a priest in Vegas. He's more attractive than a mag switch, and his car is a turbo. If you'd be so inclined as to help me welcome Andy Klein.
Dang, Pete, that was legit.
Oh, thank you for that intro and for having me.
All right, I'm gonna
That was
phone in the
fire, buddy. That was good, buddy. I mean,
Andy, I got bad news for you. It's all downhill.
It's all downhill.
The show just peaked big time. Like Pete came in way too hot. He needs to have a sandwich, maybe take a nap.
Dare we say the show peated?
No. Yeah,
He
peated in high school.
I see what
Peated in high school.
I was also peated in high school.
Oh, okay, cool. No, big thanks to Andy for joining us. We're really glad to have you here, man. It's really cool. I wanted to quickly thank our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for always supporting the show. You guys keep this thing chugging along. Thank you so much. Well, that's kind of it. We don't have any new patrons, so I just kind of wanted to deep dive right into. I know, right? Come on, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Patrons, you guys are the best. Andy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We arranged this during a bonfire at Maker Camp several months ago.
We did.
Thoughts on
While
Maker
we
Camp?
were staring
Go.
into each other's eyes.
Yeah, we were looking at each other's eyes,
perfect
sharing a plate
time.
of spaghetti, like Lady and the Tramp. It was beautiful. All four of us.
We should do a podcast.
That's totally how this started between Dan and Mike.
We should do a pod.
That's
what's your
true.
thoughts on Maker Camp, man? What do you think about Maker Camp?
Maker Camp was a blast.
Isn't it the best?
It really
So
is.
fun.
It really is.
It's so good.
I like that. I like the camping. I did the tent camping. It was a
Nice.
little cold the first
You're
night.
brave.
A little cold the first night, but then I
Very
made a run for warmer clothing and sleeping bag. But
Nice.
just the hands-on aspect, and it has the community aspect and seeing people that you like spending time with, like other events do. But nothing else has that much hands-on.
Yeah.
So it's just great.
You haven't done a sleepover at Pete's house though, so there's that. There's a lot of hands-on.
It's cool. It's a cool event. I don't know. Like the only other event that I have to reference against other than like trade events is WorkbenchCon, and that's so content related. So that's why Maker Camp is such a nice, like breath of fresh air compared to WorkbenchCon. I mean, WorkbenchCon is great.
Yeah.
WorkbenchCon is great, and it's really important if you're in content or doing that stuff. But with Maker Camp, you're just like there with a bunch of other people who are making. I don't know. It's really feels like back to the roots of things. I guess I don't know. It's
Very
nice.
down to earth.
Yeah. WorkbenchCon, there's a lot of conversations about how to get more views and likes and big time on
Which
social media.
hashtags? Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is, we have to play that game. And I'm
Right.
part of lots of those conversations, but it's not always, it's not why I got into this in the first place.
Right. You got into this to make stuff.
It makes
You
stuff.
just happen
Absolutely.
to share it as well, and you got to do that well too. So it's
Right.
back to basics. So it's nice.
For sure.
Cool. Yeah. No, Maker Camp was great. It was great connecting with you there and being able to get you on the show is awesome.
It was
What
great. Thanks for having me.
What if WorkbenchCon had more bonfires? Can we
I
do
thought
that in the
hotel
lobby?
would
That
kick us
happened in the
out.
lobby.
Yeah. If the hotel's all right with it, or even if they're not,
Even if they're not.
There's that
Yeah.
big pit in the middle of the lobby. I mean, that's a great spot for a bonfire, if you ask me.
better to ask
Dan?
forgiveness than permission.
Right.
That's what
Dan,
I'm
you bring
saying.
the kerosene. I'll bring the bag of old socks. It'll be perfect.
Old
All
socks.
right. It's a deal.
Alrighty.
So Andy, for anyone that's been living under a rock, like, who are you? What makes Andy Klein so special, and why do
gosh.
we all love you? Tell us why we love you, because
Why do you love me?
aside from the event,
But that's why. I don't know. I put some tool concepts out there that people liked. I think
that is the most humble thing I've
That
ever heard
was
in my
super
life.
humble. He didn't even mention his hair. Look at his hair.
Or the fact that Adam
Well,
Savage
Jackman
uses
was
his
giving me a hard
workbench.
time
That's
about
probably the coolest workbench I've ever seen in my life.
well, I invented some things Adam Savage liked. So, so he gave me the job to build him a bench.
And as the kids say, that's savage, bro.
Savage.
Oh God.
Well,
Man, remember how
kids
good
say
you did
that?
with that intro?
Yeah.
remember when I said the show peaked? I wasn't lying.
No, I
So
mean, seriously, you've made some really amazing stuff. I mean, the twin turbo vise, despite not actually having an engine, is amazing.
Or a turbo,
I mean,
for that
yes.
matter.
It's a big lie, but
Right, the whole thing
aside
is
from that,
a sham. But
it's a
other than
sham.
that, it's great.
So when people talk about the big lie, they're talking about the vice.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, how did that? I'm sure you have to answer this question all the time, but like, how did that come about? What was the development process on that? I mean, kind of give that's an amazing product. I mean, I want it in my shop. I've multiple times looked at my benches to see how I can fit it on there, and I've determined that I can't. I have to build a bench for it, and I'm totally fine with that. I just need the time now. Like, I'm absolutely want to build. I was talking to you at Maker Camp about it. I got back to the house, or got back to the shop. I have 3 main benches, and it won't work on any of them. I'm going to make a bench for it because it's so like this. The twin turbo vise is amazing. Like, talk about that thing.
Okay. So first off, I'd like to see these benches that you can't put one on. I'm pretty good at figuring out how to do it, but
we got you there.
I'll send you pictures for sure.
Yeah, please do.
I mean, the price is like super reasonable on them
They're
too.
just
Like,
milk crates.
They're super. Yeah. It's 1/4-inch ply resting on top of milk crates. Is that going to be an issue?
So the history of it, I mean, it was the idea to make a bench vise, a twin screw vise that I was happy with. That was something I was thinking about, 6-7 years back, maybe even more. I mean, from the point that I got really excited about woodworking, even before the YouTube channel, building a really nice showpiece bench was a top priority. But I didn't like any of the I wanted a twin screw vise, but I didn't like any of the options that were out there because they were slow, and for a number of reasons, I wasn't happy with them. So I was obsessed with how to make a better one. And I went through a lot of very different concepts. That I made videos early on the channel about a number of different concepts. 2 that I pursued and prototyped and even got quotes on for manufacturing before scrapping entirely and going back to a gear-based vise that opened quickly because of the 2 speeds that it had. So I don't know. I just obsessed about it and daydreamed when I was supposed to be working about benches and vices for a long
Relatable.
time. Yeah. So it was a slow process, and it was, even once I settled on doing the gear vise, it was a long development cycle trying to get it really to get it simple enough that it could have that reasonable price point. That was the hardest part because it was shaping up to be just prohibitively expensive for a long time.
How many iterations did you go through before you finally landed on something that you felt good about?
So just keeping it to the gear vise, the first gear vise prototype that I built was like 9 years ago, before YouTube.
Whoa,
it was all plywood.
Was the internet even back then?
I don't think so.
No.
I think
It was all phone lines.
Yeah, it was all phone lines and cassette tapes. And
Yeah. You got to check out this guy in Cincinnati. He's got a crazy vice.
But it didn't work at all. It was a complete failure. It jammed up. I mean, the tolerances, that my level of precision I was capable of at that point just wasn't there. And that's why I scrapped it. And then the first thing I actually put more effort into was this cable system anyway, but just on the gear vise. So there was that first one, like almost a decade ago. Then I went through 2 other failed concepts, came back to the gear vise concept. I built one on my own. Then there was a whole series of iterations trying to get it. The one that I built was terrible, but it was close enough that I thought it could maybe work. And then I refined the design, a whole set of tweaks and revisions and quotes and manufacturers. I don't even know how many times the design changed between that point and the point where I did the Kickstarter. And then after the Kickstarter was more successful than expected, I hired like a real engineering firm and said, okay, here's my starting point. There's some things that aren't perfect about this. And they helped me work through, so I actually have money to hire someone to bounce some ideas off of, a designer that is really smart and could help out a little bit on working through a few sticking points on the design. So that what I actually shipped people was better than what was in the Kickstarter video.
Oh,
That's
neat.
awesome.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
That's awesome that went so well that you were able to do that. And it's good to have, it's nice to be able to like get outside the sounding chamber of your own head and have someone else put eyes on things like that, especially when you want to deliver a project like that. Yeah.
I think
so good.
Everybody needs that. Yeah.
And did you find as you were launching a Kickstarter, people came out of the woodworks that were just very willing to help or
pun intended?
Advice?
Woodwork.
I get it. The woodworks. Yeah. Oh, it's on theme. But did you find that like people were so excited about the project that they were willing to like, offer either suggestions or just like, hey, you work with this company, they might be able to help or something? Or did you find that you were doing a lot of the work yourself still?
So, well, first off, the answer is yes. But even before the Kickstarter, I'd say the community helped out enormously because I made 10 versions of the prototype and sent it off to other people with big channels bigger than mine to help get the word out. And it wouldn't have been anywhere near as successful if they hadn't have done that. So even prior to the Kickstarter, the community really helped me out. And there's people I definitely owe. If you ever need, who you are, if you ever need anything, let me know. And then once it started, lots of suggestions. You got to kind of sift through them because they're not, they're all well-intentioned, but they're not all going to be helpful.
Are you trying to tell me they're not all great?
They're not all great. Yeah. Even if you're a bright person, if you haven't thought about the project, and thought about it a lot, you might suggest something that causes other problems. Like I might mention a problem, you give a solution, but you've also caused 5 other problems because of
I still think my jelly gears are a good idea, and you should really rethink that.
That's not a jelly gun. Minions reference.
And since Device, you've had several you could say inventions or prototypes or things that have kind of come to fruition. I mean, the most recent one being I believe it's the Pika hardware system, right?
Yep. Yes.
Which is just
These
like
guys.
I remember seeing that on TikTok. And I was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, oh, it's Andy Klein. What is this? And then you do the little flush trim, flush hidden, whatever. Can you talk about that a little bit? How that even came to be?
Yeah. So have you seen the wire EDM videos where 2 pieces of metal kind of slide into each other?
Yeah. So satisfying.
It's so satisfying. And I watched those videos go viral. And I just thought, if you could take that concept and build it into something useful, something that you could actually buy and do something with, wouldn't that be cool? Because clearly it's grabbing people's attention and those videos are getting lots of views and, we all reacted to it. So that's where it kind of was in the back of my head of, if you could think of a thing where that concept belongs and add some value, then you'd really have something. And at some point, the idea of a screw came to me, and there are a few other things I liked about it. I liked that it's a product that is consumable if you're a furniture maker and you build a design around it. And so I like that. If the Vice customers are great, but they'll buy a couple Vices at most. Yeah. So I like that. I think that's just smart business. The thing I like about it most, and this is only just starting to begin, is that it'll push me more towards building furniture because I want to do things that show off the products, but there's only so many workbenches I can build for Adam Savage, right? Before people get sick of me building vices. I've done too much of that on my channel. I think it's become too much of building twin turbo vices. But if the product is a novel screw that you can build into different interesting pieces of furniture, then what I'm compelled to do is to come up with cool pieces of furniture to build, which is perfect.
Show what you can do.
Yeah, more use cases for it.
Absolutely. So that hasn't happened yet, but I think it's just starting. I actually just got the first large production volume of Pika screws delivered just a couple of weeks ago. So still early days, But that's how it came to be and why I thought it was the right thing to, be my next product.
How do you see it being used in furniture? I mean, what is your vision of, how do you see it?
So the next thing that's going to, the first project that I'm going to do with it, beyond the puzzle box that I made to kind of launch it early on, is for a floating shelf. So there's a nut that goes along with the screw and extensions for the screw. So you can mount the nut to the stud, wall stud, and then
See the extension
have
on
the
site.
right, and then have the Pica screw be the front of the shelf. So that's one of many use cases. I'm also thinking of like a 3-legged end table where the legs kind of made up in some kind of way, and there's a screw that attaches. So 3 legs, three screws that kind of come together. That design is not fully fleshed out, but I think there could be something there. You could put them on the top of a table. You'd have to have the right kind of a table to do that. If it's a gorgeous live edge slab, I don't know if you'd want that interrupted with metal on the top, but for some projects, I think it could make sense.
That's awesome. I'm very interested to see how you utilize it in furniture as a furniture maker, and I'm really interested to see like how I can utilize it in furniture too. I'm really interested to see how that works. What Dan? Did I take your thing?
Yes.
No, sorry.
I was going to say, if you need somebody to help you,
no, I wasn't saying that. I'm not trying to get free stuff.
I know a guy in Omaha.
I get customers, like a lot of my customers want unique stuff in their pieces. Like they're all the custom, not the production stuff, but the one-off commissions. They all want things to be unique. They want new ideas. They want fancy stuff. It's a lot of businesses. So that stuff's always exciting to me. So
this is the right kind of audience to ask this question. The other thing I was thinking is that it could kind of open the door to high-end flat pack furniture because there's a novelty in putting it together.
Yeah.
Because that's a really good idea. Use the screws. So I'm curious if people will be able to work that concept in and have some efficiencies there. So if you want to try them out or have some ideas, absolutely, we could figure that out.
Yeah, I need to like see, like I need to put together. I just want to see it. I just like supporting people in the community. So I wasn't trying to push anything like that. I mean, but really it's a really cool concept. And I really like how you're utilizing something that's viral and turning it into a usable, sellable product. I think that's really smart. I mean,
I really like the floating shelf idea too. Cause like with the extensions, you really can just,
and a note to the listeners, if you don't know what we're talking about, go to Andy's, any one of his pages and go see what we're talking about. It's amazing.
In-Klein.com. It's all going to be in the show notes.
Yes.
Yep. And then I guess I was going to ask you about the Kickstarter thing, but that's actually one of the questions we have in the questions. So I won't do that. Let's jump straight into this.
What's on my bench?
I want to hear what Dan has going on this week on his bench.
Yeah.
Me first?
Yeah, Dan.
Oh, you guys, are you all sitting?
Let me guess.
Oh, I'm standing, but go on.
Etsy.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing a lot of Etsy orders, fellas. I don't know if you know that about me. I sell stuff over on Etsy. It's crazy right now. Although, in more shocking news, how long have I been working on that big white oak door? Do you guys remember when I first started talking about that?
9 years.
Started midway through the walnut desk.
Tomorrow is delivery day. It is done.
God. Oh,
it's done.
But what are you going to do without an extra workbench in the shop?
I'm going to have to make another workbench with a twin turbo vise, I think.
All right.
I have all that space in the middle now. Yeah, I'm so excited that I finally get to deliver that thing. That thing has been nothing but a headache and a nightmare. I thought when I started that, door, how hard could that be? Here we are, almost $3,000 later. Whew. Mistakes were made. So to back up, Andy probably hasn't heard the stories. I initially got this door order from a client. It's going on a brand new house. This main entry door is overall 9 feet tall by 42 inches wide. The transom on the top is 12 inches tall, which makes the door itself 8 feet tall. And they specifically wanted it out of quarter sawn white oak. And it specifically had to be 2 inches thick. So
2 inches thick.
Yes. So when I initially made it months and months ago, when I took it to get flattened, it got way too thin and I didn't realize it. So I thought it would be a good idea to reskin it with more 4/4 sawn white oak. And doing that, it made it cup because of all the glue surface area that was on it. It cupped over time. I had it sitting under blankets. It was like another workbench, like Pete said. And so I scratched my puzzler. I tried to figure out how I was going to fix it. And then ultimately I just decided to rip it up and reuse that wood and start from scratch. But that's where we are.
Rough.
Yeah. And
It's finished.
I think it's literally been over a year since I started that project.
Oh, dang.
It really has. And it's not all my fault. Okay. Let's back
They're
up a
still
little
building
bit.
the house.
Customer
The
They
house
were
is
still
ready.
building the
delay.
house.
Yeah.
They ordered that door like way early on, before there was even a foundation in this place. So, and as soon as like they started framing the house, they were on me about getting the door built and stuff. And I was like, it really doesn't need to be built yet. It's not going to take that long. And I'm actually kind of glad that I started it early, because I made the mistakes and then I realized what not to do. And it's all been a great learning experience, although an expensive one.
Doors are expensive, man. There's a reason there's custom doors.
Crazy.
So expensive.
Luckily, I did charge them enough that I'm not taking a terrible
Bath.
hit. I'm not going to lose any money on the project. I'm just not going to make as much as I would have liked.
But you got all this white oak now to use.
I got a ton of quarter sawn white oak to use.
So you stocked up. There you go.
I really do. So if you need some quarter sawn white oak
if you need some
inserts
end grain
or
cutting
bow ties,
boards.
or yes, end grain cutting boards. Yes, Pete, that's a thing we can do with quarter sawn white
Yes,
oak.
we can.
Yeah, but standard issue Dan story, bow ties, inserts, Etsy. I did do a couple of those slide tables that I do, those finger jointed tables that they're just C tables that go on a sectional or whatever. I shipped out a couple of those. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you order the right size of box, it'll cut down on shipping a lot.
Yeah.
So I was taking those tables straight to the UPS store, having them package it up and everything for me.
Whoa,
Dude, that is expensive.
So you broke even, basically, right?
No, I was still doing okay, but the shipping alone was costing me like $200.
Oh,
So like, I don't know what it is. The people on the East Coast seem to love those tables, because every one that I've ever, because they were packaging it and doing all the shipping and everything. So yeah, when you sent that link to the InKleined deal a couple weeks ago, I bought some special size boxes, some like 24 by 24 by 15-inch boxes. I shipped one today and it was only $85.
That's cheaper than 200 based on my math.
Yeah, it is. Shockingly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Still a lot though. Dang.
if you're shipping a bigger
That's
item and
still
you're
a
doing
lot.
it, if you're doing it quite a bit, do your own boxing. Buy some boxes.
Are you shipping through Pirate Ship or?
I just take it straight to the UPS store.
Oh man, no wonder. Yeah,
no wonder.
you're paying
You
retail.
can get that price down
What?
even more.
Yeah.
You can get that like 40% cheaper
85,
than that
that's-
minimum. That's
I mean,
super high.
Really?
So
I
Pirate
move-
Ship's probably
yeah.
35 to 50% off the price of the
Check
going to the
Pirate
store.
Ship, and honestly, check even Ship Nerd too.
No, Pirate Ship's been smoking Ship Nerd for everything.
Oh, they
they're
have been
shipping out
now.
here right
Okay.
now. Yeah,
'Cause I know
everything.
for a
It's-
while, Ship Nerd was giving me better prices for anything over like
Anything over 6
5
pounds, they
pounds,
were,
yeah.
but I don't know what happened when
Really?
Pirate Ship went
Huh.
after the UPS stuff. The prices have just, it's not
awesome.
even close.
Well, that's good to know.
I mean,
I'll just throw it on one platform.
so what I did is just, you can reach out to UPS directly, get an account, an account manager, and just print
That's
your
what I
own
have now.
labels.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I don't
Yep.
mess with any of the third parties.
Third parties. Yep.
And yeah, the price will be half to a third.
Yeah.
Twin turbo vise shipping, 24-inch twin turbo vise is 42 pounds, 30-inch by 12 by 12. And I can get that to the opposite coast, either coast, for $35.
Holy moly! I'm
Yeah.
getting robbed.
Yeah, you're getting robbed.
Yeah, we've been talking about this on the podcast for 3 years, Dan.
I can't believe we're having to pack it.
Wait a minute. I can't believe we've been doing this for 3 years. What? I must have blacked out. Anyway, speaking of blacking out, Mike, what's up?
Okay. It's real busy right now.
Yeah.
We just got the second month of orders from Room and Board for the shelves. We have 110 shelves that are all packed up for Room and Board. The freight truck was supposed to be, actually was dealing with that just before we got in the show here. FedEx was supposed to be here with their freight truck to pick up 3 pallets of shelves, and they were supposed to be here before 5 o'clock. I called at 4:45. Where's my truck? They said the driver's truck was full, so they're not coming till tomorrow, which is not what I need right now. I need those out of here. So I got 3 pallets of products sitting in the CNC building right now.
Oh,
just waiting to get out of the way. We're working on finishing up these 55 custom boxes for these Monopoly, Paradiseopoly things. We were hoping to have them. Well, I was hoping to have them done today, but they're not done today. So I had to tell the customer they're not going to be ready till Friday. So we're going to wrap those up tomorrow. And then we've got 4 exterior carriage doors that Sean and I are going to finish up. I'm not working Friday. The guys are going to be working, but Sean is going to work on that Friday, and him and I'll finish it up Sunday. Those are getting installed Tuesday. Monday, we have to go deliver a 10-foot bar and 5 custom desks to an office in the Bay Area. Those are all done. I just can't get away to the Bay Area. The trip down there, it's 2.5 hours one way. So it's like a full day of Sean and I delivering. So we're doing that Monday, and then all next week we're working on the 20 coffee tables for Room and Board. So we should be able to. We got a lot of the prep work mostly done. So those are all going to ship. I'm waiting for them to approve me shipping out in crates instead of boxes. Which, if we can do it in crates, it's going to be way better. So, so those 20 coffee tables I want to ship out by next Friday. So we're doing that, and then Christmas we're not doing it's Wednesday today. Normally we record the show on Thursday. Andy was nice enough to move his schedule over after we had scheduled for Thursday, but I've got Christmas with my family tomorrow night and Friday, and then Christmas with my wife's family, for Christmas. So the next few weeks are really stressful, but there's just a lot of stuff going on right now, trying to get like Christmas gifts done and stuff for people in the shop, which I have no time for. I don't know why.
Speaking of Christmas and a programming, if you're listening to this, we're going to take off Christmas week
next week
podcast.
Yeah, we won't be here next week. So,
so I have a question about I have a question about the Room and Board. You're actually a manufacturer of their furniture.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we do. I got contracts with them a few months back, but I've been working on it for about a year now.
Okay.
We do 2 programs with them right now, or I do 2 programs with them right now: a shelf program and a coffee table program.
Okay.
And we're working on, I don't have the space right now, but there's 2 other programs they want me to bid. Basically, they're trying to find more West Coast fabricators. And these 2 programs are programs I absolutely want to be a part of, but I don't have the operational capacity right now. So I'm in the process of working with the small business. The SBA has approved me for a massive loan for this new building on my property. So I'm trying to put this massive building on my property to move my operation in there, because right now I'm in 2 buildings that are just not big enough for what we need. So I've got another CNC coming next month, and it's already tight. I just built a building, and I've got another CNC coming next month, and it's already tight quarters. Like, I just brought my 3rd employee on, not last week, but the week. No, I guess it was last week. Yeah, he started last week, and we're just like rubbing shoulders all day long already. Like, there's just not enough space, and they want me to take on these other 2 projects. And honestly, just one of them is a bigger one out of the 2, but the larger of the 2 would require probably 2 more employees, honestly, and probably a 3rd CNC. So I need to get this figured out, because we're not like in a rush. It's going to take a long while to like negotiate this job. Like, they typically are very slow to negotiate with. They're just a big corporation. So negotiations take a while. Like I said, the coffee table job I've been negotiating since July of 2021.
Wow.
So it's just like a slow thing, So I'm in the middle of trying to get stay on top of all the deadlines we have, and then still got a bunch of custom commission work, and then employee. It's just like a lot of growing pains, and it's a lot to like manage. So I'm exhausted this week. I think we're all kind of tired, but I'm just like, this week it's like really hitting me hard. I'm like really tired. So I need a break, man. I need to, and then I took on like I started a partnership with a guy. He's a cinematographer. I've talked about it on the show. Peter, he's a furniture maker also, but he's been in the TV and movie world for 20 years as a video guy and behind the camera and behind the computer editing. So we just released our first video on the channel yesterday, and it's the best out of the gate video I've ever had. I'm really excited about it. And honestly, like we've already got 4 or 5 videos uploaded or something like that. And we're recording a couple more on Sunday, but this is honestly the worst of the videos that are uploaded right now. Like the videos are really good. Like I'm really excited about them. Like the video that just went up is what's up.
So you already have all those videos uploaded, and all you have to do is hit the publish button. Mm-hmm. Your willpower is so much better than mine. I would have hit publish on all of them.
I need a schedule. I want to like disperse them out. So I did some research and I talked to I'm in a couple of different YouTube groups, and everyone was like Tuesday evening. And I was like, okay. So I tried that. Yeah, definitely a good night to release YouTube videos right now. Seems to be Tuesday evening. So I did that yesterday at 3 so I could hit the 6 p.m. East Coast crowd. And yeah, 5,000 views in a day for me is, with a 10,000 sub channel, is pretty great. And I've just from this video alone since yesterday, I've seen 500 new subs. So it's all getting served up to the what YouTube's version of Explore, what's called the browse area. So anyway, that's just, trying to balance business and then content. And I'm really excited about YouTube right now. It's just a lot of stuff. So I'm just tired. I just need a break really bad.
I bet.
So we're not going to do the podcast
for
next
January.
week. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Andy, what you got going on, man?
Well, like you, I'm feeling pretty burnt out. I think we're all trying to bring as much of the energy as we can to the podcast, but I need a definite break. The whole holiday sales on the InKleined products, devices, and everything was really strong. And a lot of the last 2 products that I added, the vice accessories, not the Pica screw, but the vice accessories are things that I'm making on the CNC. And I sold a whole lot of them. So I've just been packing orders and making stuff, and the shop's a total disaster. So yeah, just a lot going on. We just finished up a home construction project that was supposed to include soundproofing for the shop, but the quotes came in just bonkers. None of the drywallers wanted to touch it because I want this real specific high-end soundproofing, which is kind of it's not something they're really familiar with. They got to work in a different kind of way. And then there's machines everywhere. So we were just getting ridiculous bids, more than could be justified. So I'm trying to do that myself while catching up on all these orders. It's just been kind of mayhem. So I'm trying to get as much of it done so that I can not be worried about it over the holiday right now.
Quick question. Yeah. Is it just you in your shop, Andy?
Just me in my shop.
How big is your shop?
It's 1,400 square feet. 200 of that is going to be a bathroom.
Nice.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Because anytime I see your packing area, it always seems so it's like bigger than some people's shops.
Oh, the packing area is 2 20 by 10 storage units, kind of with a big open area in the middle. So there's luckily this storage place opened like 2 blocks from my house. It couldn't have been more convenient.
So it's just not even in your shop.
No, it's not in my shop. It's a few blocks away from the house. So that if you've seen me packing stuff, that's you're looking at part of a storage.
Got it. Okay. I was always trying to figure out where that was in your shop.
Right. No, that is not in the shop.
Dang.
So I bought 2 of those. I wouldn't have had the red if you saw the shop. There's just no way I have room for all the warehousing of stuff.
That sounds like a great situation to have that opened up that close to your house.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I would have done any of this if it hadn't. Like it's
just like fell in your lap.
Good. It did.
Oh,
it
this is perfect.
Did. Yeah. Right.
That's awesome.
What about you, Petey?
Oops, sorry. Go on. Andy said you bought the units.
Rent? No. I rented.
Okay. I was curious. The only reason I'm asking is because Jackman actually ended up recently buying a warehouse space because
really?
it was smarter for him to do it with his buddy Cam Mac. One of those. It's the other one backwards.
Cam Mac.
Cam and Mac.
Cam Mac.
So they just ended up buying a space because it was better for them than to try to rent it. So that's why I was curious. Awesome. So Jesus, last week's been
what do you got going on?
A blur. Like Dan, I got a lot of Etsy orders. The holiday rush is starting again. There's like a little dip post Black Friday. And
I don't know what the heck happened today. It just like went off today. I have no idea.
A lot more digital sales, so I got to get those up. Last week was just all hands on deck prep for the holiday craft fair that we did here, and it went well, really well.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, no, I was blown away. I mean, good like 75% of my sales was just ornaments and holiday decor that was all cut on a laser. Some of it assembly, some of it is just stuff that was cut. Emma helped out a lot, but we sold so much on Saturday that Saturday night we were laser cutting more ornaments until I ran out of material and time. So basically, that it was pretty good. Now I have some leftover stuff from that weekend, but I mean, this isn't like to brag, but like I had a $1,300 weekend.
Brag it up, Bubba.
Like that's not bad for a craft fair. So this place
not bad at all.
By us. It was most of it was the first day. It was literally snowing all of the second day, and we still made like $400. So I'm not gonna complain. But the first day was really good, and it's crazy how quickly those ornaments will add up if you're selling them. And even selling them and like, hey, buy 3 and get 1 for free or whatever. We're still selling a ton of them. So
let me ask you this about the craft fair before you go on.
Yeah.
Did you give out a lot of business cards? You make a lot of good connections?
I made a lot of good connections. It's it's right here in town, about like 5 minutes from my house where I buy all my groceries and stuff. So made some good connections, met a lot of good people, met some other woodworkers in the area, found another wood supplier. Keith Johnson came out with his wife. So we hung out for a little bit. It was really nice and definitely a lot of good connections. I met my deputy mayor, which I don't know what the difference is between my deputy mayor and a mayor, but
it's not a full mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like she was pretty short. But so no, it was really good. It was made some good connections. Honestly, what's really funny is as ecstatic and excited as everyone was about the products, I got more reactions out of my business cards because they're cut out of melamine with like the smooth back. So people would try to like pick up one and they're like playing with them. Like, no, they're that thick. And I like pick them up and like, oh, and then just walk away. Like, wow. All right. Well, I'm glad you're excited about that. Hopefully the products too. So anyways, that was a great fair. It was pretty cold out. But we made it work. We had some heaters there. And Emma sold a bunch too. We got to hang out the whole weekend. So that was a blast. I'm still in production mode. I was excited to take this week off and start, kind of relaxing. Nope, I'm catching up on orders because there's a bunch of people that ordered from me either via Instagram, Etsy, or just neighbors and stuff that they want personalized ornaments. So I got to get all that knocked out before tomorrow because Friday we're leaving for the weekend. Aside from that, this week I still need to wrap up these island supports. So a buddy of mine, he refinishes homes and does like flips and stuff. So they put a bunch of cabinets in, they put an island top on it, but it's overhanging. So I need to build these supports on the side for them so that they can actually make it like a seating area. So I got to get those knocked out tomorrow. And I don't know if I had mentioned this because you guys were talking about, Dan was talking about the website earlier. I launched my website finally, just, press play on it. And there's a bunch of stuff I'm still working on the back end, but I don't know why I was holding out on the whole website because like the blog side and some of the store stuff wasn't set up yet. So that's launched and I'm just going to keep adding stuff to it. So I finally have like a landing page, which is pretty exciting. And eventually I want to start moving some products over there. So I have Etsy and that, try to, double dip. So that's my week. It's been kind of crazy with work. I thank you to Mike for reminding me that today is podcast day because my brain was not ready for it. So appreciate that.
When he sent that text today, I was like, oh,
I was like, yes, it is. You're right. Like, oh God, I gotta prep. So that's that, but let's get into some questions. I'm excited to grill.
I am not excited, but we're going to do it anyway. No, let's go. This first question is from Daniel Taylor. I spelled that weird.
All right, what's up, guys? This is Daniel, Taylor Custom Crafted. I'm going to try and keep this short. Some people want me to go fast. Some people want me to go slow. I wish there was a happy medium. Anyways, who would you like to collaborate with on a project in the community? And by community, I don't mean Instagram. I don't mean YouTube. You don't even have to make a YouTube video about it. Who would you like to collaborate with on a project? Talk to y'all next week.
Pete, I want to hear yours first.
So for me,
did I just mess you up? Sorry.
No, because I was kind of, it's hard for me to choose one person, but I think what I would be the most excited about, because I've learned that through all my years of like woodworking, and that I've learned that my passion's really in just making of all kinds. Like, it's not just woodworking necessarily. I love electronics. I love 3D printing. I love thinking outside the box and finding a solution. And, people like, we mentioned Adam Savage earlier, like Adam Savage, Simone Gertz, or Yetch, if you say it properly, Laura Kumpf, like people that really work in multiple mediums, like Jimmy DeResta, people that just think outside the box and they don't think of just one medium of wood or this or that. I would love to work with one of them on a project. It doesn't have to be any content or anything like that. I just want to get inside their head and see their process for going from start to finish on a project, and how they're able to tackle stuff. Like Adam was a big inspiration for me for years, because I would see him like, oh, I wonder how I do this, and go run over to a bin that just says like wheels, and he goes through it and finds the perfect wheel to do the thing, to add it to a pulley or something. And like, he would just like think outside the box and find a way to repurpose stuff that most of us consider trash, but because he's able to store it in his warehouse, he's able to incorporate it into his projects. And if it's not the perfect size, he'll find a way to fit it. And just watching him do his like one day builds and figure out all the problems is really so cool to see, because he does in a day what a lot of us do in months, trying to build or design a project. So that'd be my choice. It'd be like Adam, Simone, Laura, Jimmy. And I know those are like top shelf people, but like, they've all inspired me so much. Andy, I'd love to hear your answer.
So my answer, as you might guess from my excitement around the recent launch of the Pica screw, is anyone who has an interesting idea for the Pica screw is really going to take full advantage of it. But because that's kind of a cop out, I do have one specific person, and that person is Seth Rowland. If you haven't heard of Seth, I'm going to put the website in the chat, and I'm assuming you can put that in the show notes.
Yes, I can.
I used to live in Minnesota, and I was a member of a Minnesota Woodworkers Guild, and Seth came in to talk to us about design, and it was absolutely phenomenal. He has such a good mind for furniture design. He doesn't make content, so I would still say he's in the community because he participates and does things like talks at Woodworkers Guilds. Yeah. But he's made a life out of interesting pieces of furniture and figuring out how to sell them. And he just really had incredible thoughts on design. So if he could get excited about the Pica screw, and if we could kick around some ideas and put together a few pieces of furniture, I know they would be absolutely incredible. And I would come out knowing so much more about furniture design, because a lot of what I know is from that 2 hours I spent listening to him. I mean, I think about the comments he made whenever I'm trying to design something visually appealing. So my answer is definitely Seth, with an asterisk that anyone who comes to me with a good idea for the Pica screws, I'll be excited to work with.
And I highly recommend you guys check out Seth Rowland with 2 L's. Very just gorgeous studio furniture.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
It's breathtaking.
Yeah, this guy's got
I don't use that term lightly. Holy moly.
Yes, I'm also out of breath, Dan. So Mike, what about you? Who would you like to collab with?
Oh man,
you can say me.
Aside from the three of us, I get it.
This is a really tough one. I'm actually literally going to go through, because like somewhere along the lines, when I first got into woodworking like 5 years ago or whatever, I would all my knowledge came from YouTube and following people like Andy and these different people that we're all familiar with. So, and then now I've gotten to this point where unfortunately, I don't consume much of other people's work because my time is so absorbed with my own work and trying to get all my work done and coming up with my own design. So most of the people that I want to collaborate with are people I consider friends and people that I just want to do a project with more than anything. So I'm kind of just going to go down my list here of DMs, and actually Amanda Russell is definitely one. Jeff with Two Moose is one, just because he's a friend of mine. Lucas over at Lighthouse Boston. I'd really like to do a project with him. There's a guy named Russell Kieselbach. Russell is someone I'd really like to do a project with, just because I think he low-key does not get enough credit in the woodworking world, and he's a very, very good furniture maker. Chris from Cowdog Craftworks, just because I know we'd bust each other's balls the whole time and have a good time, and I think that we have completely different styles of woodworking, and I think it'd be very fun to do a project with Chris because we do completely different styles of woodworking. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just like quickly going down my list here, that's kind of off the top of my head here. I mean, there's so many. So I think the first real collaborative event I ever did with other people outside of my shop was at the Austin event when we were in Austin for the Rubio event. The three of us were together, and that working collaboratively with others to build a piece had never come to mind, simply because I'd never had the opportunity to do it, not because I was opposed to it and I just hadn't thought about doing it. But that event made me realize, man, I'd really like to do this with people. So yeah, that's my answer for now. There's a lot more though. There's a lot more people that I'd like to do a lot of projects with, for sure. Dan, what about you?
I'm gonna kind of keep my answer real simple, and I also consume a lot of content because I also enjoy it. But there's somebody that I don't think is in the quote unquote community, but I consume a lot of his YouTube videos whenever they're dropped. Is that Ishitani?
Ishitani's amazing.
Yeah, there's no talking in his videos.
That's the next video is based on.
Really?
My next YouTube video, it's documentary style. I love. Oh yeah, there's no talking. It's documentary style. Ishitani's amazing. Did you see him do the stool out of the piece of furniture, or out of the piece of firewood?
Yeah, I watch every one of his videos.
It's amazing.
They're just amazing, and I just think it would be great to be a part of that. I don't necessarily want to collab with him. I just want to work with him in his shop and just take it in. I think it would be great. Another guy that I would love to do a project with, or at least work in his shop, is Andy Rawls. You guys ever follow Andy Rawls? He makes amazing furniture too. I think he's in Texas. Mm-mm. Yeah, I've been a long time follower of his YouTube channel for several years now.
What's RAWLS,
Andy Rawls. I don't know if he's got IG or not. I just follow him on YouTube.
Andy Rawls Woodworking. There it is.
Yeah.
AndyRawls.com.
That's it. That's my quick and simple answer.
That's a great question. I really like that. I feel like I'm not properly answering the question. I just want to caveat mine with saying there's a lot of people I want to do collaborations with. I'm just quickly going down my list.
I don't like anybody. So
it's this next one is from Jordan Dubba. Hopefully I'm saying it right. I think it's Dubba, but I know Jordan used like knuckle.
He corrected us. Right. He corrected us in the YouTube chat. Duba.
Oh, did he? Okay, sorry, Jordan. Yeah. Jordan Duba. Here we go.
Hey, AWP guys, it's me, Jordan, at KnuckleNobility on the big IG, YT, FB, all that jazz. That's right, I said it. My first question for you fine gentlemen. What was a build you had where you got started, sat back, and suddenly said to yourself, oof, I don't know about this one. Mine was way back when I was maybe 2 or 3 months into woodworking. My wife wanted a table behind our sectional that did that elbow in the corner of the wall, you know, the triangular space that's super awkward. So I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll put a flip top on it. I'll make it enclosed. We can put blankets and pillows. And then I got through with the frame and realized I don't really know about joinery. Heck, I wasn't even using wood glue, I don't think. Yeah. So, hopefully this question elicits some strong feelings, perhaps a bit of self-reflection, looking at you, Jordan. I also wanted to say thank you so much for all your info, your banter, misguidance, and legal advice. It's all brought my life to shambles. No, I'm just kidding.
I should have cried.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. Love the podcast, and as always, love you long time. Bye.
Dan, how say you?
All of them. Every of the projects.
Every of them.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done a project where I don't at least step back in the middle of one and go, oh God, what is this? What am I doing? Why am I even doing this? I should take up golf or something. And sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I gotta cut them down and reuse the wood, unfortunately. But yeah, you are your own worst critic. So if you're not criticizing your own work, I think there's something wrong with you. What do you say, Andy? You agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I always have that feeling early on in a project of I'm wasting my time and I should be doing something else. There's so many things that I feel like I should be doing that any one that I pick always feels like the wrong one. So I know that feeling. I definitely know that feeling. The one in particular that I never came back to, my wife wanted end tables, and I was launching a taper sled with Mark Spagnolo. So I came up with a design that kind of took full advantage of it, but it was really more about showing off it ended up being more about showing off the taper sled than the furniture. And then I kind of did just the minimum to get that sled video out, and the project just kind of sat there, and my wife's interest moved a different direction. So I never finished it, and it just ended up really being a waste of time. I would love to actually have had a follow-up video where I finished the piece of furniture. That's what I was intending to do. But it just, so there's this video on my channel of like a partial starting build of this piece of furniture that I never finished, and all I do is talk about the sled.
The follow-up video should be you going to IKEA,
throwing it all away and going to IKEA. Yeah. So it definitely happens. I mean, you're going to have those, but I always get that feeling. I definitely can relate to that feeling of what am I doing? I'm wasting. I made a wrong choice here.
Mike.
That happens for sure. It's all commissions over here for the most part. I rarely get to make stuff for myself, but like, it's like, I always just kind of say yes to all the jobs that people ask me if I can do them, because I want to learn as many things as I can. So I'll get like into them. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Cool. Like we're literally doing these carriage doors right now, and I'd never done doors before these doors, and I've had them in my shop for months. But now we're getting to honestly, building them was super fun. Like I really enjoy building doors. I really enjoy it. I've done more since I've done these, but we're getting to the end of it now, and it's like we got to get custom thresholds, and the custom thresholds are crazy expensive, and we got to make an aster goal for each of them, which is not a big deal, but it's just like something you just don't think about. And we got to get the shoes, the skirts on the bottom and stuff. We got to get all those. You got to get the weather stripping, all these different things. You start to realize there's a lot of costs other than just the wood. It's not like building a table. There's all this extra auxiliary hardware you need to get this thing properly built in. So,
but when you take that on, you're like, oh, it's just a big tabletop. This should be easy.
It's a vertical table. It's all good.
So you're 30 accessories attached to it.
Yeah, with $1,800 in extra hardware. But yeah, you get deep into it, and you're like, oh, why did I do this? But I don't regret it. But I'm always like, oh man, I'm in over my head. But then you just regroup, relook at it, and go, okay, just get it figured out and get it done. Now then it's what is that Jimmy says? The first time you do it, you go to school or whatever. The first time you do anything, you're going to school the first time. So the second time you know how to do it. So that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes you just gotta kind of take one on the chin and move forward. But it's any project that's one I haven't done before, I feel that way for sure. Pete.
For me, it's two things really. The last time I built a table for a friend with pine that was stained, I specifically remember going like, this is absolutely idiotic. I am not getting paid enough. I think I think I was charging like, I don't even know what it was, but it was under $500 easily. I think it was probably maybe $300 or $400. I know, and I like thinking back now, like, you idiot. But I was starting out. But I remember like doing one of those and just being like, even with like pre-stain and prepping the wood and everything and sanding it just looks not good. And I'm not proud of this work. And I hate that I was constrained by money. And I felt like I needed to save the customer, i.e. my friend, money. And that's like one of the last times I built a table. Not the last time, but like last time I built a softwood table. So there was that. And then the other time was when I was making my workbench. Now this is when I was first setting up my shop, still kind of, broke and getting stuff laid out. And I was building out of literally like 2x4s, and I was repurposing an old top, and then I ended up putting like another top on that because my new table saw was a little taller. So I literally underneath what is basically, it's an old cafeteria table because it's laminate or Formica or whatever from a local school in Clifton that they were throwing out. That's on top of my old workbench, which is particle board, which used to be my miter station / workbench. And then that's on top of this like really heavy, sturdy base. So this table, I use this workbench. It is my outfeed table. It's super solid and heavy, and it's got the grooves cut for my sled for my table saw. So like it works. I hate it with a passion. And I'm not saying this because like Andy's on here, but like I've been talking about wanting to build like a really nice workbench with a really nice vise, and I've been eyeballing that twin turbo vise too. But like I just need to like pull the trigger and do it because it is my outfeed and I use it so often. I just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I hate looking at this table.
When you were describing that, I was picturing, like, have you seen the videos of people trying to redo their kitchen floor in like a 100-year-old house and
layer by layer, yeah,
pulling up layers and layers?
Literally, yeah.
I see somebody doing that to your bench in the future.
Like, just like,
who puts asbestos on a workbench?
The glue doesn't stick to it at all. So those are two projects that I was like, what the hell am I doing? But yeah, that one of those projects is still in my life, unfortunately. So good question though. Good question.
Good question.
That's everyone. Right?
The next
one, yeah,
that's everyone. The next question is from Tomas.
It's me. Hi.
Carriage.
Hey guys. Phew. I almost didn't make it. I completely forgot it was podcast day. I'm going to be honest, Andrew. I hadn't found a question to ask you until I saw that you made a Kickstarter campaign. Can you explain to us the process of making the campaign? What were the pitfalls? And would you start another one if you could? Also, have you tried adding a third speed to the vise? Like a really fast one, or even better, one with an outrageous torque output? Have you tried to crush a coconut? Thank you.
Yeah, so you hear that? The French think your vise is too slow.
Too slow. And not enough torque at the same time.
Not enough torque.
Ouch.
Does it even hold hardwoods?
That's a really good question, though. I was, almost went into it on accident. I forgot, but like the Kickstarter campaign, can you go into how that whole process happens?
Yeah. And my Kickstarter was a little unusual. If you are bringing out say board game and you're going to do a Kickstarter, there's a huge audience on Kickstarter that subscribes or follows that kind of a product and will support you. There's a lot of discovery through the Kickstarter platform.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like its own social media in a way.
It absolutely is.
People just go there to find a deal for cool things. Yeah.
Yeah, in certain categories, like a music launch or a board game or like a new Dungeons and Dragons system, things like that. There are organic reach through the platform. for a specialty woodworking tool, that's really not the case. So, and I knew that up front. I still wanted to do a Kickstarter because it lends some credibility. I think that's what I was thinking at the time. But I knew that I'd need to drive the traffic to it through my channel and the channels of friends that are going to help me out. So that's where the majority of the traffic came from. I do think there is something to that credibility, and you're going through a platform, people can feel secure that, okay, Kickstarter is overseeing this and has made Andy check the box on a few things, as opposed to just going through my own website. Right. But he asked, would you do another one? And I think the answer has got to be no, because I didn't do one for the Pica screws, and I was just as excited about that one. I just went directly through my website. Thinking there was that since I had to drive most of the traffic anyway, and it would have been the same thing with those screws, I might as well not pay the platform. I've established myself enough that I felt like I had the credibility gained through the platform was pretty minimal if I'd gone through Kickstarter. So I decided not to do it. If you're probably familiar, I'm sure you're familiar with Jocko, whatever is his channel. He goes through Kickstarter every time, even though the same thing is true for him. I think I don't want to speak for him. So Jocko, if you want to set me straight here,
he's a huge listener.
He's a huge listener, I'm sure. I think that just the credibility of going through the Kickstarter platform continues to be something that's important to him and that he feels brings value. I would love to be able to do both in parallel and learn, but that's really, the maker knife, right?
Maker knife. I always got it on me.
Yep. So I don't think I would do it again, but I think there's a part of me that wonders if I'm making a mistake there, but it's kind of hard to know.
You can never know with those things.
You can never know.
Just do what feels right to you, honestly. That's all you can do with those things.
Right.
That is a great question. I mean, from like start to finish, how long was that campaign? I mean, I know you were working on the actual product, but when you started working within the Kickstarter ecosystem, how long from start to finish was that process?
Very fast. I just did the very minimal. If you look at my Kickstarter, I just kind of checked the boxes and did kind of the minimal to get it out there. It was kind of like, if you're here, you've been watching me tease this for a year on Instagram.
The hype was already there.
So you want one? Go ahead and buy it.
You want a twin turbo vice? Buy a twin.
Yeah.
So that wasn't
Andy's crazy twin turbo vice emporium.
So you didn't use Kickstarter to like try to raise capital to get the funding to start making the products?
I did. I just assumed that people had been educated on it beforehand. Now, I will say I did spend effort in I hired like a voiceover actor to read the script, and I did some things different to polish like a really good video that was in the Kickstarter campaign. And it was where money was being raised and people putting in pledges. And at the end of it, Kickstarter gives you a check. And it was the mechanism to generate funds to get it all, kick-started.
Okay.
So,
and I kept hearing the theme of like you rolling the money right back into the campaign itself and improving it because people, like you said, people got a better vice than what you were promising initially.
Yeah, so, no money went to feed my family from Kickstarter.
Yeah,
really,
with those guys.
I used to be a big Kickstarter backer. Like I would love like fun little projects and see things on there, and if I liked it, I would just like throw money at it. And sometimes you just saw them never come to fruition. Sometimes you saw them kind of like you barely got a product at the end type of stuff, so like it was definitely like they made money on it and then it just kind of died and never became a thing afterwards. And the Kickstarter was pretty much it for the launch. So it's really nice to see that this has become like a full thing, and not only kickstarted this product, but like now, like you said, you don't have to go through that platform anymore. You're established enough now to do it on your own.
Just do it directly. Yep.
Super neat. And this is now
capture all that.
I don't know if we touched on this 100%, but like this is your full-time gig now, right?
It's not. So I have traditional employment still in the woodworking space as through MagSwitch. So I lead their line of woodworking products.
Cool.
Right.
Okay.
How long have you been working with MagSwitch?
I started at the beginning of 2020. Great time to make a big career change.
Lock in that 2-year contract.
Right.
Awesome.
And then aside from that, it's all pretty much YouTube products, and like I always like to know like where how people that we all looked up to kind of growing up.
Where's your revenue streams?
Community, like the revenue streams, like you're able to feed your family. You're living a dream. You're doing a thing. It's always cool to see like where people are getting their kind of revenue streams from.
Right. So the MagSwitch thing is a salary. You do a job and you get paid a salary. The and apart from that, like InKleined is most of the revenue comes from physical products, and most of the physical product revenue is the twin turbo vise and its accessories. That's the vast majority of it. But I've only been selling the vise for 3-ish years, and most of that, in fact, almost all of it has gone just back into R&D for new products like the Pica screw. That hasn't made anything yet, pretty minimal revenue compared to the vise at this point. And then inventory building, because you start off with no inventory. In order to have a viable business, you need a warehouse full of products, and that you pay for them long before you sell them. So just building up inventory and researching new products and some investment in the shop. Like I've plugged all the money that I've made back into the business at this point. I'm just kind of getting to the point where I can reliably tell my wife, hey, I can start pulling a little bit out.
You can buy that can of corn this week.
Yeah, I can cover that can of corn with twin turbo vise money. So that's it.
TTM.
Be feeling
twin turbo vise corn.
That. Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit to MagSwitch. You said that you started there in the beginning of 2020. So according to my math, it's only been a little under 3 years.
Right.
Did you go into that relationship with them knowing that you also have a side business? Did you have to like negotiate a little bit and say, hey, this is the thing I do and I want to continue doing it? And how did that look?
Yeah, very much so. So the way I made contact with MagSwitch was by building a knockoff MagSwitch and putting it on my YouTube channel. And so I built a DIY version.
More poorly.
Yep. And a comment came through that was polite, but kind of pushing back that MagSwitch is good, and also seemed like they really knew what they were talking about. I'm like, who is this? So I went on LinkedIn, like, this is the CEO of MagSwitch commenting on my video. So I commented back through I linked on LinkedIn.
Jonathan Match.
And we traded a couple messages, and it turns out they're right next door, up in outside of Boulder, and I live down in Parker. So I came in and I pitched I pitched a couple ideas for what I thought they should do with their woodworking product line. Some backstory on MagSwitch. Started 15 years ago. The first products launched were woodworking products, but then they got into welding, heavy lifting, and automation, and didn't have anyone to really lead and innovate woodworking for a while, and had been looking for the right person. So I pitched a few ideas, and we started talking about, well, can you do some consulting for us? And I decided I really wanted this. I wanted this consulting gig. This is kind of early mid 2019. So I put together all my best ideas for what MagSwitch should do with their product line. I made a video. I said, here's what I think you should do. And on the strength of that video, they hired me to consult and lead the business as a consultant. And we launched 3 products at the end of 2019. They did really well. It was a fun team to work with. And I negotiated a full-time employment, and I left my old employer, and because I really like the core technology is so cool. They were giving me a wide open field to do, take it whatever direction I wanted with the new products. So anything new that you don't like is totally my fault. So that's how it came to be and why it was a move I wanted to make.
Interesting.
That's really cool.
Well, let me just say I have the universal featherboard, I think. Double magnet universal. I have two of them. I have one for my bandsaw and one for my table saw. They're fantastic.
They're good.
the best.
I just love them
They're
for
fantastic.
like to incorporate into jigs and things where you just slap it on a table, tighten it up, and you're set.
Right. The jigs where you
Yeah.
can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah, like everyone
Absolutely.
does the Jessam guides for your table saw fence, and everyone just does the mag switch jig.
I've
So
had
nice.
conversations with Jessam of, everybody buys our products to mount. You think, should we do some kind of a collaboration? Oh, yeah, hem and haw, and haven't been able to get anywhere with them. But it seems like everybody who has that Jessam wants to mount them with mag switches. So
I mean, it's the best solution, right?
Non-permanent
'cause-
solution. Yeah.
Yeah, and get it out of the way when you don't want it there. If you want a, tendoning jig or whatever, that's it's going to get in the way of.
Well, that's
So,
awesome. That's
Jessam,
good to
if
know.
you're listening, I still want to do that.
They do actually. The CEO listens every week.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anthony Jessup.
Timothy Jessam. Yeah.
No,
That's his son. Yeah.
Timothy and Anthony. Yeah. Their dad's
Yeah.
son team.
Yeah, they're big
Everyone
fans,
knows that.
big fans.
No, that's really cool. I mean, the mag switch stuff is awesome. I mean, I don't know how many of those I got in the shop. There's a million of them, but
I probably have like
really cool
4
stuff.
or more.
Yeah, it's anyway. That's kind of the show. Andy, thank you for being on the show. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. That was that actually went really that was really fast.
Wow, yeah.
Like I can't believe we're an hour and
flew
10
through it.
already. So
This was a lot of fun.
yeah,
It was a great
Thank you
conversation.
so much for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it was, man. Thank you so much for coming on here, and thanks for sharing all your knowledge with us. We did mention WorkbenchCon. I did want to say that if you are planning to go to WorkbenchCon, you can use code AWP to get $50 off right now. Well, until they're stopped selling the tickets, I guess. So go check that out. Pete will have information about that in the description. But also, like we said in the show, we will not be doing an episode next week. We will be just kind of taking off some time. I think everyone's tired right now. You can hear it in all of our voices.
Happy
I think
Christmas.
we all
I
need
just need
next
to sleep.
week. Like
One sleep, please. That'd be great. No, so but we'll be back after that. I'll get a guest lined up for that for sure. And we will talk to you guys then. Andy, thank you for coming on the show, man. You are the man. We'll talk to you all next time.
Yes.
Take it
Thank you
easy.
very much,
Thanks
Andy.
again.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Love you long time.
Kill it.